I mean, it's just like I think we just been conditioned. We go to the beauty supply store because that was just the thing to do. I don't think people were really thinking about when you walk in. It's like, why is it always the Asians that own it? You know what I mean? Because maybe they have a good
Mhm.
experience and they don't feel like there's any type of racism towards them. But we got conditioned to that, going to a beauty supply store and not seeing us own it. So now I'm so happy that there are black owned beauty
Yeah.
supply stores. Like, what did they have to do to get to that point? Like, you had to really go over hurdles because this was like, how did you do that? And I'm so glad to see it. We actually have products in black hair. So I was just in New York over the weekend at an event, and she was like, "Yeah, I live out in LA and in Long Beach, and they have your products in this two black owned beauty supply stores."
That's dope.
That's dope.
Polish in my hand, I'm ready to create each nail a masterpiece. I can hardly wait. Soft pastels or vibrant hues, each tells a tale in their artistry of nails. Nothing ever fails. With each swirl and twirl, let the magic begin in this kingdom of gloss. There's no end to the wind. Gloss on my fingertips, watch them shine bright. Painted like a canvas, colors taking flight. Feeling fierce and fabulous, I'm ready to ignite. Slaying the nail game every single night. Nails and beauty talk with Asia the Bird. Nails and beauty talk with Asia the Bird.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nails and Beauty Talk. I am your host, Asia the Bird. Today, I have a very special guest with us today. She is an illustrator and the creator of Pardon My Fro. Please welcome Dana Bly. Hello, Dana, and welcome.
Thank you. Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here
Yes,
finally.
absolutely. Glad to have you on the
Thank
show.
you.
I want to go ahead and get started by asking where you're originally from and tell us a little about your upbringing.
Sure. Well, that's a loaded question. I actually was born in
Hmm.
Brooklyn. My dad actually went into the military when I was 7, so I spent basically elementary, middle, and high school in Germany, which was an amazing
Hmm.
experience. And so my life was crazy. I didn't know it. Being an adult, I kind of going back and looking at how we used to travel and move every 3 years.
Hmm.
At that time when I was young, I wasn't really feeling that probably didn't really affect me until you get to those like middle school, high school age because you start having that friend group and then you have to leave them. So the great thing about the military life though is that you can see friends in elementary school and you'll see them again like 6 years later in a different base. So that is something that I really do. And I have lifelong friends from when I was in kindergarten, middle school, and high school. So great experience. I probably didn't appreciate it while I was going through it. As kids, we just don't understand, what that life was like. We always wanted to be, I wanted to be with my cousins in Brooklyn. I didn't want to leave them because that's the life that I knew.
Hmm.
But Germany was definitely a different culture, but I latched on so quickly, loved the culture, loved the language, loved learning the language, and just have some lifelong friends. So just been a great, great experience. So dad was, a typical strict military father, but I was the only child, so I was kind of spoiled at the same time. So I really, they let me kind of just do what I need to do. I consider myself to kind of be a wild child, but very quiet, introverted, still am, but always was creative. And I think that growing up in Germany with that culture and being exposed to different things, I think it really has a lot to do with how I design today. Even though I picked up designing years later, but I feel like just those experiences and being around all that
Hmm.
culture and a mix of culture, you think about Brooklyn and Germany, couldn't be, alike at all. But it's just that I have those two backgrounds that are part of
Hmm.
me, and so I just think that with my design, it comes from like all of those experiences, just like mixed together.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. I want to get into as far as the school
Yeah.
experience. So what was like your school experience like in terms of grade school and things of that nature?
It was, it was all I knew. I mean, it was in school. I could have been going to school anywhere else, but it just happened to be in Germany. We went to a U.S. school.
Hmm.
It was on base, so it was just, again, I think the difference was it was just a different culture. It was just like a culture shock.
Hmm.
You would have friends for like 6 months, and they would end up leaving. Everyone had different um
Hmm.
PCS dates. where you would have to leave and kind of transfer and go to different schools and stuff. So you're thinking that you found your friend in, kindergarten, you guys are the best friends after 3 months, and then
Right.
they're just like bouncing, leaving. And so you have to kind of learn how to
Right.
adapt. And so that was real. I think that builds character because it really messes with your mental.
Right.
Again, wasn't thinking about this when I was 7,
Mhm.
but just hindsight looking back, I'm like, wow, I really did kind of just was a chill child considering, my life was kind of like, in chaos and shambles every 3 years because I was had to, fell in love with my friends and then had to leave and just and make new friends.
Right.
And if you are not used to that, it can be really hard. But the schooling was fine. I mean, again, it was just great. Had great teachers. I just had a great community and felt like I should have did a lot more when I was in high school.
Mhm.
I think we all say that. I think we all go back and like, you know what? I really skated by. Like I really was just kind of like skating by,
Mhm.
but I feel like I've had really, really great mentors. I had an art
Mhm.
teacher in my elementary school, Miss Carla, that
Mhm.
I still remember her to this day, and she was so great about encouraging me with art.
Mhm.
And I didn't even appreciate it back then, but she was such a great, great teacher. And so it's funny because when I went to middle and high school, you know how that goes. You get into your clique of friends, art's not cool. So you going, you're straying
Right.
away and you're just kind of doing, what your clique is doing. But I really wish looking back, I could have really kind of stayed with the art. But I feel like things happen for a reason because I kind of jumped back right into it, in my later life. But it's okay because I think it was just my time to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to get into as far as artists. So, who are some of like the favorite artists you looked up to?
I think it was not so much artists, but it was just like the culture that was
Mhm.
surrounding. One thing that I love, love, love about every school I went to from elementary to high school is that the field trip was always cultural. We were going to Gutenberg museums. We were really, really immersed in the culture of Germany. And so I think that me taking pictures back then, I just remember having my little Polaroid, just taking pictures. I just think it was the agriculture, it was the architecture of Germany, just things that I was
Mhm.
seeing. So for me, I still feel like who's my favorite artist? I can't really name.
Mhm.
It's just that I'm so just attracted to so
Right.
many different things across the
Mhm.
board. It's just everything kind of just comes. I kind of see things and I collect art, and so it's just really whoever. You don't have to be anyone famous. I can be at in Brooklyn at a fest, and I just love that artist,
Mhm.
and I'll just take it. But I really love following a lot of like my little artists like friends that I have within Instagram. Um, so I mean, and we kind of build a little, a little community, kind of, make sure that
Mhm.
we're, being accountable, checking up on each
Right.
other. How was I meant to, and kind of things like that. So yeah, it's been really great.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, totally,
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
been really great.
I want to get into your illustration style. How can you describe your illustration style, and also how did you find your style over time?
Yeah, great question. Really great question. It's definitely elevated. So, little background story. I was working in
Mhm.
corporate here in Charlotte for a couple of years. I was actually a annuity specialist. So I was actually talking to college professors about the retirement plan. So that was kind of like my shtick for the whole time. I was always in customer service. And so I was always doing something on the side though. I was always being creative, always on the weekends, helping people like design wedding invitations, helping people plan their weddings. So I was really trying to immerse myself to kind of get out of that space of
Mhm.
corporate. So around 2010, 2011, I decided just to
Mhm.
quit my job cold turkey because I wanted to focus 2 years to teach myself Illustrator. Illustrator and Photoshop, I bought them and I was just like trying to immerse myself to kind of learn that because I
Mhm.
knew that I wanted to do art. I just didn't know how to do it. I'm not a great hand artist, but I knew that if I could teach myself Illustrator, I'll be able to use that also on my iPad and like
Right.
Procreate. So I took 2 years and I just was on YouTube. I was just going around, I was taking local classes here because I knew that I just did not want to go back to corporate. So I really motivated myself to really be just really, really motivated to kind of keep going, learn the art. How can I make money from it? That was the other thing. Because since I didn't have a job anymore, how was I going to bounce and be able to
Mhm.
pay for my bills? So having that conversation with my husband was very interesting. So it was just like I just knew it was something there. And at the same
Mhm.
time that I left my corporate, I had big chopped. So I had stopped getting perms. and stopped putting chemicals in my hair. And I was really going through that big journey as well, a big chopping, which I've never done before. And so be it, the natural hair movement was just getting started. So I was seeing all these fabulous women with short fros, big fros, and I started following fashion bloggers. And I was obsessed with this one fashion blogger from New York, Christina
Mm-hmm.
Brown, and she had a fashion blog called Love Brown Sugar. And she always used to just dress so dope, bold patterns, just bright colors, big hair. And I reached out to her one day. I said, "Can I illustrate you? You don't have to share it with your followers. You know, Instagram wasn't big back
Mm-hmm.
then." So I said, "Do you mind me illustrating you and just, see what you think?"
Right.
So I just really honed in on my skills, illustrated one of her outfits of the day, made it into a note card, and mailed it to
Mm-hmm.
her. She got it and she called me and she was like, "Listen here." She was like, "Whatever this is that you're trying to do," she was like, "you need to do it. I shared it with my followers. They absolutely love it. You need to kind of push." So I really, really owe it to
Mm-hmm.
her to push me to kind of do that. So it was 2 years of like ups and downs, wanting to go back to corporate because I just didn't think it was going to work. But I really said that I knew it was something I wanted to do. So long story
Mm-hmm.
short, it was really perseverance of me being motivated to not go back into that cubicle, finding something that I can do where I could do artwork that I wasn't really seeing back then. I wasn't seeing a lot of artwork with Black women with big, beautiful
Right.
hair or braids, something like that. And I really wanted to be that artist within that time, along with having that journey with my own natural hair journey at that time as well. So two and two kind of worked together, and it kind of worked out for me.
Yeah, that's really really cool. And the thing is too with art, it's so cool because you get to find your own art style and things like that. And I like how you collaborate, art in terms of illustration with beauty, because there's beauty in art.
Yeah.
I went to SCAD
Yes.
and we've learned those different programs, on
Love
the Creative
scared.
Cloud, like,
Mm-hmm.
Illustrator and, Lightroom,
Yep.
After Effects, and, Photoshop.
Yes.
I love Illustrator,
Yes.
especially when you have patterns and
Yes.
stuff. Like,
Yes.
it is
Yes. Yes.
absolutely
Yes.
amazing of just what avenues you can take in terms of art.
Absolutely. And I feel like my art is very clean. I wanted my art to really be bold. I wanted people to look at it and say, "Oh my gosh, that looks like me. That looks like my cousin." I love abstract art as well, but a lot of times when I was designing, I realized that I was kind of creating my own style. Like I really didn't design eyes on my artwork. When I first
Mhm.
started, it was like no eyes because I felt like I really wanted to be more like just abstract. I wanted to kind of see, but over the years, it really has elevated because I think it's just kind of like, what is it that I want to be able to
Right.
sell? I felt like I wanted my art to be
Mhm.
marketable. And if adding eyes is going to make that difference, or me having glasses, it was all about the jewelry because that's what I do. I wear jewelry every day, my big hoops, my big hair, and my glasses. And so it really has evolved over the years. So I
Mhm.
felt like it was kind of like still clean, but it's kind of giving you like that boldness of part of my
Mm.
fro, if that makes sense. Because it's all about
Yeah,
the
yeah.
hair. I was only doing faces. I was doing like a face, and that's it, face and
Right.
hair. And then I started saying, okay, does someone want to see a full size doll? Is it important that she has clothes? I'm like, absolutely, because as I was following the fashion bloggers, that's all I was seeing, head to toe, like dopeness, not just the hair, but it was down to what they
Right.
was wearing, all of that. So, and I love patterns, and I love making patterns and illustrating. So for me, it was a win-win
Mhm.
situation. I'm gonna give you that whole broad
Right.
girl, but sometimes I'm only gonna give you her face because sometimes that's all you need is like hair and face. It's also gonna tell you a message as well.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
minimalist, I would say, how I started. Now I'm kind of like minimalist plus giving you that boldness of the
Yeah,
art.
that's really really cool. I want to go ahead and push forward and talk about your business, Pardon My Fro. So you have your own business
Yes.
called Pardon My Fro, where you sell your own hair care products, shower curtains, handbags, duffel bags,
Mm-hmm.
etc. So I went to Target the previous month, and that's how I discovered you and your product line. And one of the products I have is the moisturizing hair milk, which I love. I use it
Thank you
on
so
my
much.
natural hair. This product is great. I love the
Love
packaging
it.
with it too. With the black woman and the
Thank you.
natural hair.
Thank
That's
you.
really really cool.
Yes.
And I want to get
Thank
into,
you.
as far as your business. What was the journey in terms of starting your business?
So at the time, back in 2012, I really didn't have a
Mhm.
plan. Okay. So anyone that's going to listen to this that wants to be entrepreneur, especially in the art
Mhm.
space, I feel like having a business plan doesn't work for creatives. Not at that
Right.
point. My goal back then was just to share what I love
Mhm.
to do. And as people started sharing it and loving it, I started getting more excited. So the business plan might have come later on. I really just wanted to focus on how can I make this um more marketable for customers, because obviously they're loving the illustrations. And I only started out very small. All I did was prints. That's
Mhm.
it. I did 12 by 18 prints. I used to go to Office Depot, get them printed 20 at a time, sell them, come back, do 50 at a time, and keep going. But as I started doing that, people were like, oh, well, I love to hang your artwork, but I would also love to have a t-shirt. I also would love to be able to see if I can kind of have something,
Mhm.
like a travel bag or something with home. And so I slowly, because again, I was by myself. I didn't have the team that I had now. I didn't have the support that I have now, being having a partnership now. So I was doing onesies, which basically means I was drop shipping each order at a time. And so I really had to build up very slowly because I didn't have a lot of funds, didn't have a lot of financial support. So as I started saying, okay, well, if someone wants shower curtains or someone wants home decor, I had to go out and find those manufacturers. So I really was doing everything that you could possibly think of to kind of get this brand on, off of its feet. And it was a lot. So now the journey got a lot easier because about 3 years ago, I ended up finding a partnership. Someone had found one of my shower curtains on
Mhm.
Facebook, and she reached out to me a couple of times, and she was like, saw your shower curtain on my friend's page. Never seen artwork like this before in my life. What do you do? How can we have a conversation? And I would just kind of like saw the email and I deleted it. Didn't think anything about it. She emailed me back like 2 weeks later. Hey, I know I'm not your demographic. I'm a white Italian woman from Long Island, but I'm telling you, I have a business and I think that I'll be able to help you. And so I still deleted it, didn't think anything about it. And then I thought about it. And my husband was like, well, isn't this what you asked for? You said that at this point in time, you wanted to elevate your
Mhm.
brand, right? You did everything that you can
Mhm.
do to try to get brand awareness on your own. But now you have someone who's kind of willing to help
Mhm.
you. Go ahead and take that offer.
Mhm.
So that's how everything started. The hair care line, being me and then retailers, all of that literally is only 18 months old.
Mm.
So from 2012 to 2019, I really was just like hustling. I was just wanting everybody to know about the brand. I was like sending my work out to Essence Magazine, to Ebony Magazine, just whoever could just give me a chance to listen. And then once social media got into it, because back then when I started, it was just Tumblr, like Tumblr and
Mhm.
Facebook. And then when Instagram started, that's when I started really pushing the work and just having people share. I was sending people free stuff just so they could share it with their followers, and that's how I kind of grind
Mhm.
with that.
Mm, yeah, that's really really
Yeah,
cool. So one thing I noticed with their
yeah.
packaging as well is that the main color is green. So why the color green for packaging? And also, what are your tips as far as packaging?
Yeah, so green is my favorite color. It's probably been my favorite color ever since I started the brand. It's a color that just makes me happy. And when I was starting this brand, I was like, why not just have green be part of it? So when I was designing my logo, I was thinking what that logo was going to look like.
Mhm.
And I was like, green is it. And
Mhm.
so now when I fast forward to the hair products, one of the things I had told my team was I was very hesitant at first to do hair products, only because I'm a product junkie
Mhm.
myself. I used great products before I had a hair product, and now I still have brands that I love. And I was trying to figure out, I know this space very well because I've been in this
Right.
space. So how am I going to stand out differently? Like, what is it about my products that someone's going to say, oh, okay, because they know me as having a lifestyle brand,
Mhm.
but now I'm going into the beauty space. So I was very, very hesitant and very, very unsure about that
Mhm.
decision. But when I told my team, I said, okay, well, I'm an artist first. I wasn't that person that was starting a hair care line in their kitchen doing formulation,
Mhm.
right? So how am I going to be able to have people trust
Mhm.
me to be able to say, okay, I have a hair care line? So I just thought about my hair care line being an extension of
Right.
art. And I said the packaging, number one, has to be green because it has to be something
Mhm.
that people are going to see on the shelf and it's just going to get their attention right away. Secondly,
Mhm.
exactly, I have to have my dolls on these packaging. I have to, because if it was just text, green, and like no designs on it, I don't know if it would be
Mhm.
noticeable. So I really use the hair care to be an extension of my art, like just an additional canvas. And I love that I did that, and I'm so glad that I did it because I was going to talk myself out of it at the last moment.
Mhm.
But I'm an artist. I want people to see it and understand that this is not just a hair care brand. I'm going to give you the great quality ingredients because I have a team of chemists that can
Right.
do that. But then how am I going to stand out? So now people like I was walking down the aisle, that green popped at me, and so it just validates that yes, because I'm new to the space. I'm a newbie, and so I don't know what it takes to run a hair care, but I know what it takes to get your artwork out, and that's how I treat my hair care line. If that makes
Mhm.
sense.
And I like the color green, because green is like the whole thing of like
Yeah.
money and wealth. And so, yeah,
Yes,
with different
exactly.
colors, it has that
It's
symbolism.
for newness. Exactly. Green is all about renewness and refreshing. And a lot of times we get burned out. I'm sure you get burned out, trying to do content, trying to schedule meetings, trying to just help your brand. And so the green, just, I try to wear it daily. If it's not in my nails, it's going to be something I have on.
Mhm.
So, packaging, your second part of the question is, I think packaging is very
Mhm.
important. I'm an artist, so I probably notice things that maybe the another person wouldn't really notice. That's a
Mhm.
non-artist, only because I'm obsessed with like patterns and fonts. So
Mhm.
I typically shop based on how the package looks. That's just
Mhm.
me. And if the product is great, that's even better. And so I'm going back. But I think that packaging for your brand, I
Mhm.
think it's just the most
Right.
important. It has to be because you have to show who
Right.
you are. Your packaging is going to show you what type of person you are. So if someone sees Pardon My Fro packaging, they're going to be like, okay, I know what she's
Right.
about. She's about wanting to show off, wanting to make sure that her brand is being seen amongst all these other great brands that surround me on the shelves. I have to make sure that people are understanding that artist
Mhm.
first, and then hopefully the ingredients to great. But packaging is so, so important. No matter what you have, it doesn't have to be in the beauty space, but packaging is so, so important.
Absolutely. I want to push forward and talk about
Mhm.
pricing. So, there has been a lot of conversation in regards to the importance of understanding your worth and your value, not only in the beauty
Yeah.
space, but also in the creative space, just in general. And I want to get into this question. What has been your experiences with pricing your work and your beauty products?
So, great question. When I first started out selling my lifestyle brand, we all are guilty of this. Pricing is the most stressful and difficult thing when you're setting up your
Right.
business. One thing, some people want to be a premium business, but can you start out like that? Are people going to say for a canvas print, $200 is too high for 12 by
Hmm.
18 print or 16 by 20? But I think artists, art is our baby. So my whole thing about that is I wanted to make art
Right.
affordable. So I used to do $5 print sales because what happened with that was if someone is like, I want to buy art, but I can't afford it right now, but I want to, or I want to buy her shower curtain, but her shower curtain is $65, I can afford
Hmm.
it. I always used to do art print sales every quarter. So that day when I would do a $5 print sale for that week, that was your chance to own a piece of Part of My Fro. And to me, did I make a lot of money from that $5 print sale? No, but what I did do, it was more brand awareness because what was happening was people were buying 15,
Hmm.
20, right? And then it was gifting them to other people who may not have known about Part of My Fro. So for me, it worked out. The hair care and beauty business, it's so different because you have to kind of stay within trends. So if my beauty products are $18 a bottle and I'm next to someone who's been in the game for 10 years and they're cheaper, people don't understand why
Right.
that is. Well, someone who's been in the game for 10 years, they're able to reformulate, right? They have a longevity. Their minimum orders could be a lot larger than mine, so they can have a cheaper product on the shelf. With me, maybe I'm only able to, order 15,000, but they're able to order 100,000. So you order 100,000, that's going to be a lot cheaper from the manufacturer.
Hmm.
So for me, I really feel like pricing is something that's never going to be stagnant. I'm in the process now of talking to my team about repricing things because now we've been on the shelves for 18 months. I'm able to see customers. I'm able to talk to them face to face when I do events. And they will tell me, yeah, I think your oil is too expensive for what it is. Or I think your hair mix is too expensive. So what I try to do to curb that is have them sign up for the newsletter, right? let me send you a $20, 20% off,
Mm-hmm.
coupon. So you build up your
Mm-hmm.
customer newsletter list, but also, you want them to buy your products and you don't want them to turn away just because of the price. So again, pricing is always going to be something that it's still stressful. Even when I'm talking about it now, it's very stressful because you want to be fair to your customer base,
Right.
right? Especially in the times that we're in now. But then you have your business. You have to make money. This is how I
Right.
survive. I feed my family off of this. So it's just a balancing thing. It's so difficult. So I think that if you are worth $18 for your product and you're passionate about it, then you charge $18 for that product.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you can do. And if you can scale down, then I would say do it. But we out here, especially creatives, we have a living and we have to make
Right.
money to be able to survive. We have families out
Right.
here, so I definitely try not to price gouge. But sometimes the price is the price because of goods are
Right.
high now for us. People don't realize that something that cost me $2 to make maybe 10 years ago is now costing me like 5.50.
Mm.
So I have to always
Right.
increase and still try to stay fair, you know?
Mm.
So,
Mm. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely, most definitely.
Mm.
Now, what are some of the important things one should know before starting their own beauty product line?
You know, um, I think that you have to have someone else beside you. And I say that because I know a lot of entrepreneurs who started businesses on their own. But the beauty business is so different because there's so many things that you have to know. You got to know about data. You got to know about the next person that's on the shelf, how they're doing.
Mhm.
You have to have someone who is really good about brand strategy. I think that's key. Brand strategy is the difference between you paying for packaging that works and doesn't work,
Mhm.
right? That brand strategist is the one. And even if you can't afford a brand strategist, I utilize Fiverr. The first probably 6 years, I was utilizing Fiverr.com because they were able to do things that other people were charging me $500 for that I could do on there for
Mhm.
20, and then I build from that. So it doesn't mean that that person was less knowledgeable. It's just that that's just what the price is,
Mhm.
right? It's like piecemeal. So I think that if you're gonna do this, you have to at least just have someone who kind of knows something about the beauty
Right.
business because it's not for the faint of heart.
Right.
You're not going to know everything, and I let people know you're not going to know everything at the first time, but you have to keep going and you just have to be
Right.
passionate. If you are passionate about your business, everything else is going to be smooth. If you're doing this for the money, that's going to be the
Right.
wrong thing. You have to have a passion for what you're going
Mhm.
to do because you're going to run into those hurdles, those walls, and the first thing you're going to want to do is quit.
Mhm.
And if that's your passion, you can't quit. You got to keep going.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely keep going.
So
Absolutely.
yeah. Yes. Because you gotta have somebody in your ear saying, "No, Dana, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Let's kind of work." So even if that's your spouse, even if that's your best friend, even if it's a friend that that she knows about branding or something like that, just lean
Right.
on them. You know what I mean? Like lean on. Tell them I don't have a lot of money
Mhm.
to pay you, but I'm leaning on you. And when I do get to that certain point, I'm always going to remember you, and then I'm going to be able to pay
Right.
you back. But right now, I think knowledge is
Yeah,
key.
absolutely.
I think knowledge is key for the beauty business.
Mhm. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's one thing I like how you touched on is the importance of team essentially. You know what I mean? To have
Ooh,
a
yes.
team
Yes.
that
Yes.
that can guide you through how to survive in terms of the business aspect of, beauty, but in business in general. You know what I mean? I think that's very, very important as well. So you know how to navigate too. And I think also having a support system along with, having a business set team is very important too to keep your mental in
Yep.
check.
Yes, absolutely. Mental. I mean, I can talk about this because my experience has been from being joyous and having success to almost in 2019 closing Part of My Fro,
Mhm.
right? So 2019, I was doing what I normally do, was doing my drop shipping for Black
Right.
Friday, and I was just selling what I always did all the years
Mhm.
prior. And this particular Black Friday, I was like, it was odd. I was getting like customers, like every once in a while, customers were like, "Hey, I didn't get my order, typically around Black Friday, 2 weeks to
Right.
max. That's it. Well, it was like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, customers weren't getting their orders. And so it started piling up. And then every day I was getting like DMs and emails saying, like, where the hell is my order? And I didn't think anything about it. I contacted manufacturers, like, it's Black Friday, a little bit behind, no worries. Sent out a customer service, message to all my customers saying, hey, bear
Mm-hmm.
with me. It is, overly, busy this time of year, but
Mm-hmm.
we'll get it done. Well, another 2 weeks went by, and I was just getting flooded with messages, just flooded.
Mm-hmm.
So I was calling the manufacturer. I was not getting any answer from them, not getting any return calls. I just happened to go on their Facebook page, and I saw other brands that use them, that they were having the same
Mm-hmm.
problems, other companies. So 2 hours later, I go back on that Facebook page of the company, and they make an announcement that they closed their factory,
Mm-hmm.
like within 24
Wow.
hours. So what was happening was people had already paid me for their products because, again, drop shipping,
Mm-hmm.
right? So some people products did go out, but probably like 75% of my orders from Black Friday did not go out.
Mm-hmm.
So I had people's money, or they had people's money, and they had no product. So I don't know if a lot of people understand how that works, but when you have a shopping platform, you can only refund as much as the system can give you. Once you don't have any money in that pot that they give you, it's all gone. So all those customers that were waiting for their product, they never got it, and then I couldn't refund them. So I literally had to take like 24 hours and just really just I had to just cut clothes off everything because I was trying to figure out what was my next move going to be. So I
Mm-hmm.
said, okay, next day I'm going to go on live and I'm going to explain what
Mm-hmm.
happened. Didn't want to do it, but one thing about my customers was that I was always very communicative
Right.
with them. Anything that was going on, that communication was always key because I was my own customer service at that
Mm-hmm.
time. So I went on live and I told them what happened. And for the most part, we got, you get some nasty messages, but about 4 days later, I was just like, I have to just close Pardon My Fro. And I was actually going to take money out of like my 401k to send people their money back. And what happened was customers were asking me on social media for my Cash App. They were asking me for my address. And they were like, you can't close Pardon My Fro. Like, you established this brand for us. There's no way that we're going to let you close and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So can you imagine like customers who didn't have their money back, didn't have their product, but they were still willing to give me. So I was getting like checks in the mail. I was getting Cash App. And I'm just like, what is going on? So my family, my friends, we just all gathered together and I was able to get back on track. I was able to refund the people money back and just kind of like refresh and figure out what the next step was going to be. Because I knew that once this happened, I couldn't do this again. I couldn't depend on a manufacturer for product, you know what I mean? And not have a warehouse where I know that I have that inventory in there. So I say that to say that when you talk about hurdles, when you talk about hitting a wall and you want to give up, when you treat your customers right and you have a reputation, they're going to be there for you. Not everybody can say this, but I can stand on that today that I would not be here if it was not for my customers, my family, and friends rallying around me,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
you
Absolutely,
know?
most definitely. I want to push forward and talk about natural hair. So I watched this documentary as of recently called
Mm-hmm.
Natural Hair, explore the struggle of hair identity among some Black women, created by Deep Sea Digital. And it talked about the history of Black women and their natural hair. So in your perspective, how important is it for Black women and Black girls to have confidence in their natural hair? And was there at any one point in time where you struggled to love your natural hair, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I feel like I still struggle with it only because um I always depend on someone doing my hair. I always had a hairstylist. So when I big chop, that was the only time where I was like, okay, well, I have short hair now, so I really shouldn't be going to the stylist. I really should be learning how to do my own hair because I felt like that's what the natural hair movement was. It was like, big chopping, no more chemicals, and you just learn how to love your hair. Ever since I was younger, I always just felt like my hair was not good enough. It was always kinky, and to this day, it still is. It took me a long time, like literally maybe 2 years ago, I was like, okay, I'm always busy. I'm always traveling. I always have events. So for me, a protective style is just what works for
Hmm.
me because I don't have to worry about doing my hair. It's very quick. It's low
Right.
maintenance. And then every once in a while, when I have a break, then I'm like trying to embrace my natural
Hmm.
hair. But when I got my hair care line, I really was thinking to myself, like, okay, Dana, like, just start to learn your hair again, right? Now you have a hair care line that you can use on your own hair and start to kind of embrace your kinkiness, embrace the shrinkage, all of that. Your hair is not going to look like this is not you. But for me, getting my hair care line really opened my eyes to say, okay, if I'm gonna trust, if I want customers to trust that I want them to buy my product, I should be using my own product. I should be out there saying, for my kinky hair, it's gonna work. So my formulation for this whole six core that I did was based on people like me who have 4C
Right.
hair because we need extra hydration. We need moisturizing all the time. And so for me, I'm so excited about me just learning my hair all over again because now that I'm older too, it has changed. The grays are like, unruly, and it's just
Hmm.
like your hair changes as you get
Right.
older. I feel like it's more drier. But now that I have a hair care line, I'm like, okay, I can start embracing. You know what I mean? I can start embracing it again because it's hard. I think it's so important. Plus, people, little kids. I mean, my daughter, she went through it. She has the most beautiful, like, kinky hair. But when they get to middle school, it's all about that. Everybody wants that straight hair. When she get to high school, it was even worse because it was like going to prom. Oh my God, why don't you wear your beautiful afro out? Nobody else is doing that. Everybody has that straight weave, that silky, all
Right.
of that. So even now, she's kind of embracing it more, and we're kind of learning together. We're like really learning, like it's okay to have the protective styles, but every once in a while, when you don't, just learn to love your hair because it's just gonna make your life so much better, and then it makes you feel confident. But I think when you're in corporate, different because when I was in corporate, I went and got braids. It was when box braids first came out, 95, 96, and I
Hmm.
remember a black manager coming to me and she said, this company is from Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. They don't really, everybody there black has just straight perm hair. And I'm like, well, I have these braids.
Hmm.
Like, if you think that's going to affect my job, then that's going to be a problem. But I remember her telling me that. She's like, I'm not telling you to take them out, but it's just a different look. And I'm like, wow, this is where we at. Now, that was 95,
Hmm.
96. So imagine if people back then was like wearing afros. Like, imagine if the natural hair movement started then, corporate would be insane because what we're going through it now. It's 2024. People still coming into the office with big hair, and they're being looked down on for what?
Hmm.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So it's just so important. It's so important because it's just hair that grows out of our scalp. Can't do anything
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, right, exactly. And now it got to a point where there had to be a law, like the Crown Act and stuff. It's really ridiculous. And even on top of that, especially within the beauty industry, with the nail supply stores and the beauty supply stores, is mostly Korean owned. This is an Asian owned, mostly Asian owned business industry, excuse me.
Yes.
And also
Yeah.
white folks take a part of it too. And the thing
Yes.
is that with a lot of these brands, a lot of these supply stores, these are dedicated towards black women. We're the number one consumers. And the thing is that, I
Yep.
watched a documentary in regards to, the beauty supply business
Mhm.
chain and
Mhm.
stuff like that. They black owners out and stuff like that. So, no one wants to talk about the racism aspect of the beauty industry as far as the beauty supply store business or the nail supply store business.
Mhm. Mhm. You're right. You're right. I mean, it's just like I think we just been conditioned. We go to the beauty supply store because that was just the thing to do. I don't think people were really thinking about when you walk in. It's like, why is it always the Asians that own it? You know what I mean? Because maybe they have a good experience and they
Hmm.
don't feel like there's any type of racism towards them. But we got conditioned to that, going to a beauty supply store and not seeing us own it. So now I'm so happy that there are black owned beauty supply
Yeah.
stores. Like, what did they have to do to get to that point? Like, you had to really go over hurdles because this was like, how did you do that? And I'm so glad to see it. We actually have products in black hair. So I was just in New York over the weekend at an event, and she was like, "Yeah, I live out in LA and in Long Beach, and they have your products in this two black owned beauty supply stores."
That's
That's
dope.
dope. That's dope. Like, look how far we've come. Like, that's just amazing. I was just so happy to hear that. So happy to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad that there's Black people owning beauty supply stores and things of that nature, especially nail supply
Yes.
stores too.
Hmm.
There's
Yes.
like there's like
Absolutely.
Dime Nail Supply in Chesapeake, and then there's Creative Nail
Hmm.
Supply in North Carolina. From my understanding. So I had a chance to interview Creative Nail
Hmm.
Supply, and these are owned by two Black women. You know what I mean? So it's really cool to
Nice.
see the progression and saying like, yo, we can take that,
Yes.
the culture in terms of the
Yes.
beauty industry, because without Black women, the
Hmm.
industry, in terms of beauty, whether it's makeup, hair, especially nails, it wouldn't be where it's at without Black women.
Especially
Mm-hmm.
nails. No. Nope. Not at all. Not at all. I mean, it's so funny because I've been in this space, the natural hair space, since
Mm-hmm.
2009, and just to kind of see the elevation of how we started to where we are. Even thinking back to the original influencers, but we didn't call them influencers back then. These were just people that we watched on YouTube that showed you how to style your
Yeah.
kinky hair. And now it's like they're called influencers. Back then we were just like, oh, like Nikki May. To me,
Mm-hmm.
she's the
Yeah.
OG natural hair queen.
Mm-hmm.
She
Yeah, I
doesn't
remember
do it
watching
anymore.
her.
She got her doctorate and got met. Yeah, so it's just like, but she to me is the OG of natural hair because I used to watch her religiously on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube just to be like, her hair was a little bit more finer than mine, but she still had that
Right.
kinkiness, and that made me feel like, oh my god, okay, so you can wear kinky, you can wear it to work, you can go out on the street, make it cute.
Right.
So just the elevation of me seeing this space is just amazing. It's amazing. I love
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. I totally agree with that.
Love it.
Totally agree. I want to get into
Yes.
as far as the beauty industry in terms of the growth. So, what has been your perspective in terms of the growth of the beauty industry, and also to what are some things that you think the beauty industry could be improved on, and what are some things you like about the beauty industry?
I'm gonna take this last one. I think that, because I just did a video about this. So I think that me being on the shows for the last 2 years, I feel like there needs to be more unity with my sisters on the
Yeah.
show. I think that if I'm sitting next to you on the show, we can be competitors if that's the name that you want to call it,
Hmm.
right? I think that there needs to be more unity within the brand
Right.
founders of hair
Hmm.
care. I think that there's no reason why we can't collectively come together to do whatever it is. I'm not trying to take a piece of your
Yeah.
pie, not trying to do it, but I think that there's a conversation to be had where the newbies that want to have a hairline, you have all this information
Hmm.
and they're not taken away from you by giving them that
Right.
information. I just think that there needs to be some type of platform for all of us to be able to be and be like, hey girl, I'm in Target, like how has your experience
Yeah.
been? I want to go into Sally's, like what does that look
Hmm.
like? I don't need to know your secret sauce, because I feel like if you have a hair care line on any shelf of any mass retailer, you have your secret sauce. I don't think that I could take away that. Just like no one can take away Pardon My Fro. No one can take that, right? It's me, it's my brand, it's my vibe. But I think that collectively having a platform for the newbies that want to have a hairline, why is there no platform for that? Why is it? I don't get that. So I think that the beauty industry is growing leaps
Right.
and bounds, right? Went to a Walmart summit about 2 weeks ago. When it comes to beauty, especially hair, it's not slowing
Hmm.
down. Like literally, we are like a couple of $100 million than we were like in 2016,
Hmm.
2017. People are all about beauty, about hair. Even that includes like bundles. Anything that's kind of like
Right.
enhancing protective styles. Because what I did learn is that people are busy these days. People are building businesses every day more than
Right.
ever. The last thing you want to do is spend 2 hours on their hair. So protective styles, bundles, low maintenance products, all of that. So the beauty industry is not slowing down. So I feel like moving forward, there has to be some type of platform where someone doesn't feel threatened about it, right? That we can kind of share collectively our experiences.
Hmm.
And I don't mean a panel chat. I mean a platform seriously with the top hair care brand founders that are like spilling in the trade secrets or spilling in, the things that maybe I shouldn't do that you had to try to avoid to get you to where you
Right.
at. Again, if you have the secret sauce for your brand, I can take that secret sauce away.
Mm-hmm.
Because I will share with people to a certain extent my experiences in the retails that I've been
Mm-hmm.
in. I will share with them because they asked me, and I'm not going to hold
Right.
back because what are they going to do?
Mm-hmm.
I just tell people that it's really for the faint of heart. When you get into this beauty industry, it's for the faint of heart because sometimes people do feel like they're alone and that they don't have anybody to talk to. Now, my art, when I'm doing art and I'm struggling with Illustrator, I can call my art
Mm-hmm.
friend, and she literally is like, "Oh, this is what you do." So again, not taking away from her because she has her own thing going on. Why can't we do that for the beauty industry? Why can't we do that for the hair
Right.
industry?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah,
not?
absolutely. And the thing is that I think with us as a people, and it does hold true that, there has to be more improvement of us as Black people across the board sticking together. You know, whether we're
Yes.
here from the US,
Yeah.
UK, Africa, the Caribbean, there has to be more of an aspect
Yes.
of us by a global scale sticking together. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
Collectively,
Yeah.
and not
Mhm.
only building each other up and building our businesses up, but also holding brands and influencers accountable as far as the racism and cultural appropriation in terms of Black culture, especially
Mm.
Black American culture. You know what I mean? And
Right. Right.
it's non-productive
Mhm.
for us to have these diaspora conflicts and stuff like that, or this tribalism, separatism
Mhm.
type of thing. That's
Right.
not helping us. And this is why
Mhm.
other groups of people leap ahead ahead of us, and be ahead of the game as far as
Yeah.
tech, beauty, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So because they know, like, okay, despite our conflicts, we're able to get together and build. You know what I'm saying? So we have to definitely, as a people, as
Yeah.
Black people, not compete against each other and build more.
Mhm. We'd be so much
Hmm.
stronger. Like we would be so much stronger together if that was the case. And again, I know that people have mouths to
Yeah.
feed. I know people have families that they have to
Hmm.
support. But I feel like there's a way that we're able to do this without digging into what it is that you've built
Hmm.
already. Because I think we're all doing the same thing. We're just not talking to each other. That's what I believe. I think we're all doing the same thing. I think we're having all the same struggles, but no, someone is afraid to take that to extend that olive branch. So I want to be the one to do it. I want to be the one to extend the olive branch, and I'm the newbie. I'm the newbie. Just like someone when I'm doing art, people used to ask me like, "Where did people wanted to gatekeep in the art
Right.
community." Well, people ask me all the time, like, "Oh my gosh, I've been trying to find someone to do shower curtains or travel bags,"
Hmm.
and I would just give them the information
Hmm.
because they have their own brand that they're building. Just because I give them my manufacturing information doesn't mean that now, oh, and if they are bigger than Pardon My Fro, kudos to
Hmm.
them. You know what I mean? Kudos to them because that's not what it's about. As long as I'm doing what I love to do, nothing can take that magic away. No one can take your magic away. If you love what you're doing, that's fine. So I would never gatekeep. I would always share my information. This is where you get your shower curtains made.
Hmm.
Again, I used to feel some type of way because I did take time to research it. Yes, I did. But at the end of the day, it's not a secret. Now, print on demand companies are everywhere. Manufacturing is so much more easy now. Alibaba, AliExpress, like everybody has those things now because that's where everybody is going.
Hmm.
So, gatekeeper to me, I think is just silly because if you are confident in your
Hmm.
brand, nobody can take that away. They can't take that magic away.
Yeah, absolutely, most definitely. Now, I want to get into as far as favorite products. So, what has been some of your favorite products as far as for your hair?
Oh, just non part of my
Yeah.
fro? Good question. I love curls. I think that their blueberry, gosh, their blueberry, it's like a blueberry in a jar, like a custard. I love it. Been using that for a couple of years. It works well with my hair products as well. Always love Shea Moisture Cream Smoothie for my hair. Always worked for me. Um, love Kaleidoscope Miracle Drops. Is the truth.
Hmm.
Um, from Jessica. I'm a product junkie. So many pattern, the masks I love. Like it's just like
Hmm.
endless, and I love that I still want to buy those products because it ain't about my products. Like I want people to buy my products and love them, but for me, I still have my
Right.
staples. that curled berry bliss is the joint. That that's dope. So for me, if it works for my hair, like why
Mm-hmm.
not? Why not? And if it works with my hair products, that's even better. So I love that. So that's what I mean by it's it's easy for me. I'm a product junkie. I'm always gonna be a product junkie.
Mm-hmm.
Always gonna be a product. That's never gonna go away. Because and I don't have a custard in my hair
Mm-hmm.
care. But even if I did, it's not gonna be as good as curls because that is she got the secret sauce in that, and I love it. So I'm happy for her, and I'm happy for the brand. And so yeah, those are my staples. Those are my staples, and I love the Dew Mousse as
Mm-hmm.
well. Yeah, the mousse I love.
Mm.
Yes.
Now let's get into fashion. Now, how would you describe the Dana Bly style and aesthetic?
Ooh, I'm a graphic tee all day, every day. It's easy. You could dress it up, you could dress it down. I'm a sneakerhead, true and
Yeah,
through
me
and
too.
through. Since I work at home, it's like sometimes I'm in here in my pajamas and sweats. I've been trying to be a little bit more motivated to get dressed because I do film a lot of content at home now.
Mm-hmm.
So you're always gonna see me in a graphic tee. Even when I go to my line reviews and meetings, they just kind of know me as having graphic tees because they know the brand that it's all about sneakers, graphic tees, but I still try to make it
Right.
professional by putting a blazer on. But they know I'm gonna walk in with a graphic tee blazer and some camos and some sneakers. Like that's just what it is, and they don't judge me. I'm there for business, and they know that part of my fro is just a different type of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really my aesthetic. I'm not wearing earrings too much anymore, but always gonna have glasses, bangles, rings. It's gonna be some type of jewelry,
Mm-hmm.
necklaces, something like that. But yeah, that's pretty much what it is. In green,
Mm-hmm.
green is always gonna be a part of the wardrobe.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
What's like your favorite sneaker to wear?
I have the Billie Eilish greens, and I also have the ambush neon electric
Mm-hmm.
lime swoosh that I love. So, um, yeah, those are my two because those are both green, but those are my two favorite. All high top dunks. I don't like low top dunks. I probably have every color. I have some Python green dunks, green and white. Those are my favorite. So, and they're very comfortable. And I have the classic black and white. So, yeah, so just dunks all day
Mm.
long.
Yeah, I love like Converse. I'm a big Converse fan. I love like the platform. I think it's called the
Yeah.
Runstar CX or something like that. I love like the Converse sneakers.
I just bought my daughter some. She loved the platforms by this guy. She wanted them for her graduation. It's platforms. I can't think of the name right now, but it's like a guy's
Hmm.
name. So I guess he kind of did like a collaboration with Converse. So yeah, so she's in that. I do have a pair of lime green Converse, like the platforms. I wear it on occasion, but they're very very comfortable. But I'm old, so it don't give me a lot of support. So if I'm just going to like something really cute and it's like not too far and I'm not gonna be standing up too long, then I'll go ahead and wear them. But they're really cute. But yeah, like any kind of sneakers, but like dunks is that's my go-to. Those are the ones I have the most pairs of.
Yeah, absolutely, most definitely. Now, if you could offer one valuable piece
Yeah,
of advice for up and coming entrepreneurs and artists, what would it be?
be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Don't compare yourself to what someone similar brand that you have or that you want to be. You can use them to motivate you and think about how you can make it
Mm-hmm.
better, but be yourself in your brand because that's what people are going to love. You have to be authentic. You have to. If you come off fake, if it come off like you're trying to be like another brand, customers see through that. Customers are very receptive. I mean, they're going to see through
Right.
that. So if you're having fun, you're passionate about it, and you're being authentically you, your brand's going to be okay. Because
Mm-hmm.
there's so many brands that are coming out every single day, and I think people are struggling. Like, oh my gosh, how am I going to be able to A, B, C,
Mm-hmm.
and D fit in? How am I going to be able to stand out? Like, those are the things that you want. Because right now, the name of the game is branding
Right.
all day long. Especially with the algorithms the way that they are on Instagram. Like, you have to. Everybody wants to make that explore page.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to really stand out and you just have to make sure that you being true to yourself because I guarantee you the customers are going to know the difference.
Yeah, absolutely, most definitely. Last but not least, where
Yeah.
can people find you on social media and how can people support you and your business?
Yes, thank you. So you can find me at Pardon My Fro on Instagram, at Pardon My Fro Art on TikTok, pardonmyfro.com for the DNC. Thank you so much. You can find the hair care products, CVS, Walgreens, upcoming in Sally's, Target. So just really blessed just to be there. Thank you so much for that product placement. Support me. Come speak to me. Say hi to me when you see me in the streets. When you see me at events, I'm very approachable. Even on Instagram, send me a DM. I'm always answering the DM. So I'm just happy to be here. And thank you so much for this platform for me to just share about Pardon My Fro and really myself. It's very a personal interview, and I love that too because really Pardon My Fro is who I am. It's me. So
Absolutely. Yeah, most definitely.
thank you,
Yeah,
Asia.
absolutely.
And Asia is my daughter's name, so that's a plus.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Dana, for jumping on. I really loved hearing about your story. Also, the development of your business is a really cool conversation, getting to know you
Yeah,
and your work. Also, your beauty line and things like that. I wish you the best luck of everything that you do. And this is a very wonderful
thank you.
conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having
Yes,
me. I
absolutely.
appreciate it.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Hello, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to click the bell for notifications. Also, follow me on my social media platforms and be on the lookout for more interviews to come very soon. Take care, stay healthy, and stay beautiful. Bye bye.